Hi everyone, I'm Tana, a real estate agent with over 11 years of experience. Today, I'm going to share the story of how my mother-in-law, Eleanor, and her entitled family tried to take everything from me after my husband Andrew's death. Life with Andrew was beautiful, until cancer knocked on our door. Our two-story suburban home was our sanctuary, a place of love and comfort. But that peace started to crumble when Eleanor began treating our home as her second residence. Tana, dear, the organic groceries you buy are so expensive. Sarah was just telling me she can feed her whole family for half the price, Eleanor would say, rummaging through our fridge during one of her unannounced visits. Mom, please. Tina works hard, and we can afford what we want. Andrew would defend me, though his voice grew weaker with each passing day. The chemotherapy was brutal, but not as brutal as Eleanor parading her unemployed daughter, Sarah, her husband, Tom, who claimed to be disabled, and their two kids through our home like it was their personal playground. Mommy, why can't we live in a nice house like Aunt Tina? Sarah's 8-year-old asked one day while jumping on our $3,000 couch with muddy shoes. Because your Aunt Tina got lucky with Uncle Andrew's money, sweetie, Sarah replied, making no effort to stop him. I was organizing Andrew's medications when Tom began his usual complaints. Man, these disability claims are taking forever. They just don't understand how bad my back is. Your back didn't seem to bother you when you were moving furniture for your buddy last weekend, I muttered under my breath. Things reached a boiling point when Eleanor cornered Andrew during one of his better days. Have you updated your life insurance, with Sarah struggling so much? Mother enough. Andrew's outburst startled everyone. My insurance is for Tina's security, not Sarah's pyramid schemes. Andrew's final days were peaceful, at least. He squeezed my hand one last time and said, "Don't let them walk all over you, baby. You're stronger than all of them combined." After the funeral, I found Eleanor and Sarah whispering in my kitchen. The policy must be at least $500,000, Eleanor said. Mom, she can't possibly need all that money for herself, Sarah replied. I cleared my throat. They jumped. Can I get you anything? Besides my bank account details, I asked, my voice dripping with sarcasm. They gave me a look that could curdle milk, as if I were the unreasonable one. But I kept my cool, remembering Andrew's words. Little did they know, their attempts to take over my life were just beginning. A week later, the doorbell rang incessantly. I opened it to find Eleanor, Sarah, Tom, and their kids standing there with a U-Haul truck behind them. We lost our rental, sweetie, Eleanor announced, already pushing past me with boxes. But God works in mysterious ways. Now you won't be alone in this big house. Wait, what? You can't just. Andrew would have wanted us to stick together as a family, Sarah interrupted. Her kids were already running upstairs. He always said this house was too big for just two people, Sarah added. Those weren't his words. Those were yours, Sarah, I snapped. Tana, dear, Eleanor said, grabbing my hands and faking tears. My grandchildren are practically homeless. What would Andrew say if he turned them away? Before I could respond, Tom directed movers to carry their furniture inside. We'll take the master bedroom. My back, you know, those stairs are killer, he said. That's my bedroom, I protested. Don't be selfish, Tina, Eleanor snapped. Family helps family. Within hours, they'd taken over the house. Andrew's office became a playroom, his desk covered in sticky fingerprints. The kids need a space to play. Sarah shrugged when I confronted her. It's not like anyone's using it. Every day brought new horrors. Eleanor would show up at 7 a.m. questioning why I was going to work. Those poor children need a mother figure while Sarah is busy job hunting. Job hunting? She's been on the couch watching reality TV all day, I shot back. How would you know? You're never here. So selfish. I slammed the door before she could finish. Then I started noticing things missing, my Cartier watch, Andrew's first anniversary gift, my grandmother's pearls, and even my wedding jewelry. Has anyone seen my jewelry box? I asked during one of their takeout dinners that I was apparently paying for. Haven't seen it, Sarah said too quickly, avoiding eye contact. That night, while looking for my missing car keys, I found pawn shop receipts in Sarah's purse. My hands shook as I read them, but the final straw? The stack of credit card applications I found in the trash, filed in my name, with my information but not my handwriting. The mailman must have mixed up our mail. Sarah stammered when I confronted her. In my name? with my social security number, I demanded. Well, if you just help us out financially like Andrew would have wanted, she muttered, her voice trailing off. That night, I locked myself in the guest room, the only space they hadn't invaded, and sobbed into Andrew's old t-shirt. I don't know what to do, babe, I whispered into the worn fabric. They're taking everything. My phone buzzed. Another declined credit card notification. They were getting bolder, assuming I wouldn't fight back, but they didn't know me at all. Andrew was right, I was stronger than them. As I lay there plotting my next move, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't about grief or family anymore. This was war. Sorry, I'm just really tired. I mumbled the next morning, slumping at the breakfast table, secretly recording Eleanor and Sarah as they schemed. Finally given up, huh? Sarah smirked, sipping my coffee as if she owned the place. Anyway, Mom, but lawyers said after 6 months, they can't just throw us out. Squatters' rights or whatever, Sarah said with a smug grin. My hand tightened around my phone, but I kept my defeated pose. 3 months of playing possum while building my case had taught me patience. Earlier that week, I'd struck gold. Jessica, their previous landlord, finally returned my call. Oh my God, they're doing it to you too. They pulled the same stunt with us. Moved in claiming hardship, then refused to leave and destroyed the place. I've got all the court documents. Each revelation was worse than the last. 5 evictions, 3 lawsuits, countless victims. Look at Tom working so hard on his physical therapy, Eleanor cooed from the window. I glanced outside, my hidden camera capturing Tom hauling construction materials into his buddy's truck. Physical therapy, my ass. I added the footage to my growing evidence file. Andrew's lawyer, Richard, had been a godsend. Your husband knew this might happen, he said, sliding a sealed letter across his desk. He wrote this before he passed. My hands trembled as I read Andrew's words. Baby, if you're reading this, they've made their move. Mom's been running this con with Sarah for years. Dad left because of it. Don't let them do to you what they did to him. That night, I lay in the too small guest bed, listening to Sarah's kids jump on my $5,000 mattress upstairs. My phone buzzed again. Another message from their previous victim. They tried the same disability scam with us. I've got proof of Tom working construction during that time too. My evidence wall in the locked spare closet was growing. Photos, videos, documents, text messages. Every stolen piece of jewelry documented. Every fraudulent application logged. Every conversation recorded. You look awful, dear, Eleanor commented the next morning, her voice oozing false concern. Perhaps you should take some time off work. Rest. Maybe you're right, I sighed, playing my part. It's all so overwhelming. That's right. Just let us handle everything, Sarah chimed in, patting my hand condescendingly. I retreated to my room, adding another recording to my file. My phone lit up with a message from Richard. Documentation from Andrew's father received. Ready when you are. Oh, I'm ready, I whispered, staring at my evidence wall. You want to play family? Let's play. The next morning, chaos descended. What do you mean, fraud investigation? Tom's face went pale as federal agents showed him photos of his construction work. Sir, you've collected $45,000 in disability benefits while working full-time jobs for cash, the agent said. I watched from the window as they led him to their car, Sarah screaming behind them. This is your fault. Eleanor stormed into my house. You vindictive little. Mrs. Patterson, a detective interrupted, stepping inside. We have some questions about your involvement in multiple fraud schemes. Eleanor's face crumpled as they showed her the evidence. I was only trying to help my daughter, she protested. By stealing my jewelry? By attempting identity theft? I shot back, holding up the stack of fraudulent credit applications. The pawnshops were very helpful with their surveillance footage. You don't understand. Sarah sobbed as officers took her statement. We needed. Save it for the judge, I snapped. Oh, and your previous landlords send their regards, I said with a smirk, sliding the eviction notice across the table. Their faces were priceless when they realized I had documented everything. You can't do this. We have rights. Sarah screamed, tears streaming down her face. Actually, my lawyer said, his smile razor sharp, you don't. The headlines were brutal. Family fraud ring exposed. Tom got 3 years in prison for disability fraud. Sarah received probation and restitution orders she'd never fulfill. Eleanor, stripped of her church committee roles after the truth came out, was left begging outside the courthouse. "Please, Tana," she pleaded, her voice breaking. "Where will we go?" I looked her in the eye, my voice steady. "You should have thought about that before you tried to steal my life." The kids, at least, would have a chance. Tom's parents had been fighting for custody for years, and now they'd finally won. Eleanor's once devout church friends were less than forgiving. "She used us all," their pastor declared, cutting her off from every committee and volunteer role she had clung to for status. As for me, I sold the house right under their noses. With my real estate connections, I found a luxury condo in another city, complete with state-of-the-art security that would make Fort Knox jealous. "Miss Reynolds," my new doorman greeted me warmly. "Your package arrived." Inside was Andrew's restored photo, now hanging proudly in my scam-proof sanctuary. The HOA rules were a dream, no guests over 2 weeks. Perfect. The real estate community rallied behind me. "You're an inspiration," one colleague said. "I'm dealing with family trying the same thing." Their support led to something bigger, a weekly support group for victims of family financial abuse. Every Tuesday, we meet to share stories, strategies, and strength. Last I heard, Eleanor was living alone in a tiny apartment. Sarah juggled minimum wage jobs between probation check-ins. And Tom? He still had 3 years behind bars to reflect on his choices. In my new home, I stood before Andrew's photo and smiled. "You were right, babe. I was stronger than all of them combined." My phone buzzed, a desperate voicemail from Eleanor. Straight to my lawyer it went, like all the others. My new life was peaceful, successful, free, and the best revenge, thriving while they lived with the consequences of their actions. Sometimes karma needs a little help, and I was more than happy to assist. What would you have done if you discovered your mother-in-law was the mastermind behind multiple fraud schemes? Would you have exposed everything immediately or quietly gathered evidence like I did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you've ever dealt with toxic family members trying to take advantage of you during vulnerable moments. Your stories and experiences might help others recognize the warning signs before it's too late. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about standing up to toxic family members and breaking free from manipulation. And remember, setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival.